Hello students, today we are going to talk about rural industrialization. We will see this topic comprehensively. So if any question comes in 10 marker or 15 marker, you can easily address that question. But before understanding the rural industrialization, one thing which is reminding me in the words of Mahatma Gandhi that India needs to focus upon production by masses rather than mass production by using the capital intensive industry. We are not going into the debate between the school belonging to the Gandhian economic spectrum or to the Nehruvian school of industrialization or Ambedkarite school of industrialization, because that will be more of political science spectrum. And therefore, we are going to understand the rural industrialization from GS perspective. The very first thing that the rural industrialization can be defined in the terms of scale. It can be defined in the terms of number of products or the range of products, or it can be defined in the terms of its geographical location. A scale here simply means that how much goods are being produced, and the range of products is very limited in the course of rural industrialization. They cannot make cars, they cannot make trucks, but what they can make is the resources which are locally available and which are labor intensive. And therefore, the main focus of the rural industrialization is on employment or to stop migration. Even if you will look into the first 5-year plan, these are the only two objectives of the rural industrialization. So, from this kind of industries, there can be a number of employment opportunities. First is for the regular employment, and this is for the people who are educated. The second one is casual employment, the people who are illiterate. And the third one is self-employment, that is the person having the entrepreneurial activity or lineage. And therefore, these are the three things, or these are the three kinds of employment which can be produced from the rural industrialization. Now, if you will look into the characteristics of the rural industrial, then it can be labor intensive. It is based on the resources which are available locally. Then they have a low investment. Then they have a low capital output ratio. So these are the different characteristics of the rural industries. Now you will say, what kind of industries can be termed or can be categorized under the meaning of rural industries? They can be traditional industries, they can be medium industry, they can be light industries, they can be heavy industry, they can be sunrise industry. So what comes under the meaning of these subheadings, you will come to know when I will show you this particular slide. That is, the traditional industries is about footwear, is about Adi textiles, and if you will see this light industry is about the animal feed industry. This light industry is about the construction programs which is going on at the panchayat level. Then if you will see medium group industry, then there can be a paper industry, there can be a cement industry, and in the terms of heavy industry, there can be a biofertilizer industry. Then in the sunrise sector, there can be an agricultural and allied activities. That is, they can be a food park also. So these are the categories under the rural industry. Now, if you want to understand that what are the different stages of the rural industries and where does India stand, I will say that all the countries in the South Asian continent falls under the first stage of rural industrialization. If you will see the Western countries like US and the Europe, they are in the third stage of rural industrialization. If you will see Latin America, that is the Brazilian area, then it comes into the second stage of rural industrialization. So basically, I just want to tell you that what is happening in the first stage of rural industrialization. Here, most of the products will be home based, and there is no rural and urban linkages, and therefore the industries are developed or clustered around the towns, and most of the activities in the rural industries will be linked to agriculture directly. Therefore, these 3 and 4 are the characteristics of the first stage, and most of the South Asian countries falls under the first stage of rural industrialization. Now, in the second stage, what will happen? The very first thing, along with agriculture, you will find a mix of different activities like mining and tourism. And also, the people is moving from the rural to urban area, urban to rural area, and everything has improved if you will compare from the first stage. And you will find that there is a labor intensive, small scale industries, and also capital intensive industry. However, the number of capital intensive industries are very less. And in the third stage, everything will be intensified. If you will see in the terms of products, if you will see in the terms of backward and forward linkages, if you will see in the terms of the marketing reform, each and everything is intensified in the third stage. So there are 3 stages of the rural non-farm industry. In this way, they grow, and once they achieve the third stage, you can say that we have utilized the potential of the rural industries. Now, if you want to understand their significance, then the economic contribution of the rural industries. Economic contribution, the very first thing, that of all the net value added in the economy, 47.7% comes from rural economy. Along with this, two-thirds of the employment is from non-farm sector in the rural area. And you can also substantiate from PLFS survey, periodic labor force survey, that around 42% of the employment is from the non-farm activity in the rural area. Now, during COVID, we have understood the importance of these industries when the people have started and the reverse migration have started from cities to the villages. At that time, it has been observed that people are taking loan, commercial loan or retail loan, both have picked up. Commercial and retail loan both have picked up according to Rural Business Confidence Index. Rural Business Confidence Index. People have taken the loan and invested in the small industries at their own places. So this is the significance. Now, if you will go into the deeper analysis of its significance, then the very first thing that it is stopping migration. Obviously, when all the activities are present at your native place, why the people will move from the rural area to the urban area when they have their own houses, when the environment is clean there, they are taking fresh air, each and everything is fine there. And once we are having the industries in this area, people will stop migrating from the rural to urban area. Preserving culture. If you will see some of the things, that is Pachima shawl, toys, bangles of Firozabad, each and everything is getting protected. Bronze and alloy utensils of Uttar Pradesh, each and everything will get protected or is being protected only because of the survival of the rural industry. Women empowerment. If you will see, just for an example, dairy cooperative in UP, Haryana and all, there's 70% of the workforce is women in this agriculture and allied activity. Now, environmental protection. Obviously, the waste they are generating is not a toxic waste. They are not polluting river water. So they are not creating environmental waste to that extent that capital intensive industries are doing. Then they are focusing on, they are relying on the locally available raw material. So obviously they will not use those raw material which is bad or which is harmful. So they are focusing on environment. Employment. According to RBI survey, some of the states like Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, they have focused upon the rural industries and through which they have reduced the rural unemployment, and therefore poverty rate of poverty reduction is more in these states. And the last one is SDG, because SDG is focusing upon judicious use of resource. And when we are focusing upon the rural industrialization, we are focusing upon the resource conservation and focusing upon the judicious use of our resources. So this is the significance. Now, what are the steps taken by the government? If you will see that there are numerous schemes of Government of India that can be clubbed under these three heads: protection, development and promotion. Now, if you will see protection. So for protection, protection from what? Protection from competition. So to protect these industries from the competition of MNC, government has focused upon the institutional measure like Khadi Village Industries Commission. Along with this, National Small Industries Corporation Limited, they are focusing upon providing the export incentive to these industries, credit to these industries, training to these industries. Each and everything is happening through these institutional measures. Now, development of rural industry. How we are developing? We are developing it through FPO, through Agri Infra Fund. We are developing it by setting incubation center. For promotion, what we are doing? For promotion, we have a number of schemes like Spurti. And then also we have an Ustad scheme. Spurti is focusing upon the regeneration of these industries, and Ustad is focusing upon giving them the new set of skills. So these are the three ways through which we are protecting our rural industries. But what are the challenges? The very first challenge is protection syndrome. So what has happened after 1991? The market economy has opened up, but we have protected the rural industries, and therefore they failed to compete in the market and ultimately they died. If you will see the toy industry, if you will see transistor industry, these are the small scale industries that has completely shattered after 1991 LPG model because they failed to compete, and government has purposefully done it in the name of protecting them. Technological barrier. I just want to give you an example of Sambalpur sari. 4 and 5 weavers are required to work for 2 to 3 days to complete one sari. Now you can understand the importance of technological barrier for these industries. Then credit availability. They don't have credit, and therefore they cannot invest in technology. They cannot invest in marketing. एक्सपोजर नहीं मिल रहा है, बंद होगा. ठीक है, बहुत सारे सिंथेटिक मटेरियल आ रहे हैं यूरोप से, पहनेंगे लोग. मार्केटिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इट इज ऑल्सो लैकिंग बिकॉज ऑफ द lack of rural-urban linkages. Human resource, most of the human resource has migrated from rural to urban area because of the paucity of employment opportunities there, and therefore the lack of human personnel in these industries is also a challenge. So these are the things with respect to the challenges. Now what can be done? We can focus upon the cluster approach, and government has started Spurti, that is focusing upon the cluster based approach. Why cluster based approach? Because of economics of scale. Harnessing export potential, because we will have to compete with Vietnam, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and therefore we need to focus upon to dent the global supply chain and to make our products more competitive in the market. Urban linkages, it can be done because the government is focusing upon logistics and the augmentation of the transport infrastructure through Bharatmala, Sagarmala, etc. An integrated approach. Integrated approach here means the policy making, its implementation, providing training to them, providing new technology, providing credit. Each and everything should happen through an integrated approach. So now if this question comes in the course of rural industrialization and their significance in the national development, now you can easily write answer even if it is asked in 15 marker question. So that's all about the rural industrialization. In the next video, I will come with another issue based discussion. Thanks to all of you.